Can you also wrestle, Vaush? I can. I haven't watched this full video yet of him making fun of me or whatever it is. I watched part of it. Within, I think, the first 20 seconds, he calls me a fascist, a red fascist, which that's his go-to, you know. Everybody's a fascist. Everyone's a fascist. When he is supporting NATO, one of the most fascistic groups or fascistic entities in the world today, as they arm and fund and give backing and intelligence to groups like the Azov Battalion, and all these ethno-nationalist entities that in many cases have been filtered into the actual Ukrainian government and are now a part of the actual Ukrainian military. So I'm sure this is genius level critique here from Vaush. If he says anything that makes me rethink my positions, or if he proves me wrong in any way, I'll be glad to admit it and learn from my mistakes, but I don't have my hopes up. I'm not
can't really talk
to debate him. That was a year ago. That was like a year ago when I was just starting out on TikTok and YouTube. And I was like, no, I'm not going to start like my YouTube career by debating Vaush. You know, I want to figure out how to do this type of long form content and streaming more before I do something like that. But now I responded to him right after he posted this video. Like, I'm down. Let's do a debate. I've been following the Ukraine issue for however long now, over a year, pretty closely. So whatever, I want to hear what information you have to present. But usually there's not much information when it comes to Vaush. There's a lot of name calling and a lot of everyone except me is a fascist.
About their Russia fetishizing. Oh yeah, I saw that just earlier this morning. There's this TikTok red fascist who really hates me, who makes
red fascist, baby. Thank you, K Grenade. Good luck on your wrestling, Eddie. I was able to have a cohesive discussion at work about our government because of the stuff I've heard. Awesome. Proud of you, K Grenade. Keep killing it. Thank you very much for being a YouTube member. Thank you very much for the super chat, and keep organizing those delivery workers. Proud of you.
Videos attacking me.
Now back to how I'm a red fascist, as I encourage my audience to organize the post office.
Sometimes I forget what his name is. He said he didn't want to debate because he's a or something. I don't know. But a video of his got posted by Midwestern Marx.
Yeah, right. You know, he just said he forgets what my name is, but a video of ours got posted by Midwestern Marx. That is my outlet, you dummy. I'm sure he knows who we are.
Who's like a 14-year-old Stalinist or something. And it was like, look at this.
If you want to understand the war in Ukraine,
Edward Mugler or something.
Put yourself in the shoes of some.
Wait, that is him? Wait. This guy is Midwestern Marx? They're the same person? Oh no. He's retarded. Oh, I didn't realize he was that.
Vaush says the R word? I'm surprised. You'd think with his audience being like sort of woke liberal leftist people, he wouldn't use that word, but I should know, like, it's a name call, you know, it's an ad hominem attack. It's an insult that allows him to divert from the substance of the argument and pretend like everyone he's talking to is just an idiot. Wait. Are you really saying that? Wait. Is this really the person who said that? Oh yeah, they're a red fascist tanky idiot with a 2 IQ. He says wait more than anybody I've ever seen.
Bad. I thought he was just is this guy like 15?
Wait,
I thought Midwestern Marx was 15, but the Edward M. Liger guy, you know, I think
there you go. Good job reading the name.
He's in college or something. He looks like Shaggy. I don't know. This is an adult. Oh man, that's really embarrassing. Well, I guess I'll watch the clip now. Now I just feel kind of bad.
Somebody living in the Donbass region. This is a place in eastern Ukraine containing.
You feel bad for me, Vaush? Look at yourself. I'm about to compete in the U.S. Open in a week. Bruh, everyone feels bad for you. You look like you haven't showered in 3 weeks. And everybody you debate nowadays brings up the little kids you got caught hitting on in your Discord server. You do not have to feel bad for me, my guy.
cities like Donetsk and Lugansk, where most of the civilians are ethnic Russians who speak the Russian language. And in 2010, they voted for Viktor Yanukovych as president because he promised to bring peace between Russians and Ukrainians. But in the lead up to 2014,
in 2010, I'm pretty sure there was peace between. Okay.
the U.S. funneled millions of dollars into Ukraine in order to foment a coup and overthrow that government.
That's not true.
Yeah, but there were ethno-nationalists. There wasn't a war going on, but there were ethno-nationalists calling for the Russian language to be banned. And part of the reason that Yanukovych was able to win that election was because he said, no, for one, we're going to remove Stepan Bandera as a national hero. We're not going to have this literal Nazi as a national hero. And then two, we're not going to ban the Russian language. After the Euromaidan coup, after the U.S. dumped millions of dollars into Ukraine to overthrow the government and put a pro-U.S. government in power, the Russian language was banned. Stepan Bandera was named a national hero, and they began firing artillery shells at the Donbass. So that's what I was referencing. But I'm sure Vaush doesn't know that because he doesn't read, because he doesn't understand any of these issues that he talks about on his show.
The U.S. funneled millions of dollars into Ukraine in order to foment a coup and overthrow that government.
That's not true. Factually incorrect. Yanukovych was a puppet of Putin, directly took orders from Putin, and when he made the incredibly unpopular deal to ignore the will of the people and side entirely with Russia in an economic trade deal, as opposed to the EU, which the people wanted,
him siding with Russia as in not making Stepan Bandera a national hero was why he won. That was largely why he was able to win. And how can you say it's factually incorrect that there was a coup and then immediately start talking about Yanukovych? Yeah, he was corrupt too. He was still democratically elected, you dipshit. He was still democratically elected, and the NED and the U.S. State Department still dumped millions and millions of dollars into Ukraine to foment Euromaidan and overthrow the government and put a pro-U.S. government in power. Right? Yanukovych being close with Putin doesn't have anything to do with that. Victoria Nuland herself admitted that there have been millions and millions of dollars dumped into Ukraine specifically to influence the politics. And when that leads to a violent overthrow of the government, what else do you call that other than a coup?
people protested and Yanukovych.
It's so dumb because like anybody who's there's also a leaked phone call where Jeffrey Pyatt and Victoria Nuland are talking about how they're going to foment this coup and then who's going to replace the Ukrainian government after the coup happens. Which, pro-US actor is going to then rise to power. And this was a leaked phone call, and Vaush is just like, nope, didn't happen, factually incorrect. The guy who was overthrown met with Putin one time, so you're a fascist. Like, dude, you are as slimy as you are stupid.
Tried to turn Ukraine into a dictatorship at the behest of Putin. The laws that he was attempting to pass would have given him essentially total dictatorial control over Ukraine. He was protested against, and he eventually fled the country. There is no evidence that it was an American-backed coup any more than...
What do you mean there's no evidence? Who was the guy? I think this is how you spell his name. There's some guy who has published so many scholarly articles, many of which now are being repressed. Hold on. Gray Zone published this. There are scholarly articles that pass the peer review process. Here it is. So this was put through the peer review process for multiple top academic journals, looking at the U.S. influence in the lead up to 2014, looking at Ivan Kachenovsky, that was the guy's name, looking specifically at the event where a bunch of people were killed by sniper fire and proving, based on the evidence, that this sniper fire came from the Maidan protesters, from these U.S.-backed protesters who would overthrow the government, which is what we call a coup, Vaush. So this guy did a bunch of rigorous scholarly analyses of these different issues that prove U.S. involvement and prove that Euromaidan was a coup. They passed peer review process, meaning they were rigorously analyzed by other academics, searching them for flaws. And then some of the more recent ones have been suppressed by academic journals. They've said, we understand that the peer review process was successful and you offered solid evidence in support of your conclusions. However, we're just not going to publish this because of all the controversy that was created by the ones in 2015, 2016, and 2020. So this dude is going to sit here and say that it's factually incorrect that there was a coup when he hasn't looked at the scholarly literature. He hasn't looked at the scholarly peer-reviewed investigations into this, which prove it is a coup. So you're just talking out of your ass. But his audience doesn't know any better. His audience doesn't care. They're just here for culture war issues or whatever the hell it is they watch Vaush for. And they'll just believe all this nonsense. Pure lie.
American.
Lol, Vaush will just say the gray zone are conspiracy theorists. I'm sure he will. I don't give a shit, though. Read the scholarly articles from Ivan Kachinovsky, then. They're peer-reviewed, meaning they were judged by other academics. Go through those, Vaush, if you even know how to fucking read.
Officials supported the protesters, as in, like, yeah, you go fight for democracy, which if that makes it a coup, then, you know, okay. So, well, all right, then.
No, that doesn't make it a coup. Yeah, just ignore all the actual evidence. Just ignore all the actual evidence, straw man the argument, and be like, oh, yeah, you think that's a coup? Because rigorous scholarly analyses said it was a coup, and because the U.S. admitted to dumping billions of dollars into this country, and because the U.S. has done a coup in every country who's gone against their interests for the past 70 years. Yeah, okay. Why are you acting like it's ridiculous that the U.S. would do a coup? Why are you acting like that's a ridiculous argument? You're supposed to be a leftist. We're supposed to be the people who recognize that the CIA and the U.S. is always doing coups.
Didn't he also gun down protesters? Yes, he did. You're correct.
But he's actually a neoliberal. He's actually probably funded by some weird NGO connected to the NED.
Snipers at the behest of Putin, to whom he was a puppet.
No! Ivan Kachinovsky proved this too. You liar. You liar. You liar. You liar. That is what the last peer-reviewed academic work from Ivan Kachinovsky was about. They proved without a shadow of a doubt that the snipers were from the Maidan side. There was no possible way, based on the evidence collected, based on a comprehensive analysis of the totality of evidence that we have, they determined that there was no possible way that these snipers came from Putin or from Yanukovych. They came from the Maidan side in order to escalate things, make things more violent, and eventually lead to the overthrow of the government, as did burning 12 trade unionists alive in the trade union building, or maybe it was 24 trade unionists, which Vaush is supporting right now. He's supporting that and saying it wasn't a coup. He's running interference for the U.S. State Department doing a coup. And this is the hero of the left, the internet's hero of socialism. This dude is a neoliberal State Department shill, and we know that with beyond a shadow of a doubt. Just like we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the snipers were from the Maidan side, thanks to scholar. And what does Vaush source here? What does he source? No, they were part of Putin. I think I remember reading that on Washington Post or NYT. The snipers were from Putin. Where's the scholarly sources? Where's the academic works? Where are you citing your sources, Vaush? You just pull this stuff out of your ass. I just showed you Ivan Kachinovsky's rigorous analyses of these situations, which passed a rigorous peer review process. And you just pull whatever sounds convenient for your argument out of your butt and say it. Because you know your audience isn't intelligent enough to push back on any of the lies that you say.
He had snipers shoot protesters. That's true.
And at this point, literal far right.
It's not true. He says it. Yeah, he did. It's true. It's true. I'm not going to show you a source, but trust me, it's true. It's true. Someone told me it was true. Putin did it. Putin did it all.
Extremist.
Putin helped. Putin helped turn Maidan into a coup to overthrow his own puppet government. Right? He was in charge of Yanukovych, so he had a bunch of snipers fire on the protesters, which inflamed the protests into a violent coup. and it overthrew Yanukovych. Why would Putin overthrow his own puppet, you dipshit? Just think about what you just said. You said Yanukovych was a puppet of Putin, and also Putin had snipers go into Maidan and shoot people, which was one of the main things that turned Maidan into a violent coup that overthrew the government. So Putin sent snipers to foment a coup against his own puppet government?
Ethno-nationalist groups like the Azov Battalion started getting added to the actual Ukrainian military, and they started...
No, that didn't happen until later. The Azov Battalion was a local ultranationalist militia that formed because Russia invaded the Donbass in 2014, and Ukraine basically didn't have
the military, and they started...
No, that didn't happen until later.
And at this point, literal far-right extremist ethno-nationalist groups like the Azov Battalion started getting added to the actual Ukrainian military, and they started...
No, that didn't happen until later. The Azov
2014.
Battalion was a local ultranationalist militia that formed because Russia invaded the Donbass in 2014, and Ukraine basically didn't have a military.
That's why the Azov Battalion formed. The U.S. has been funding neo-Nazis in Ukraine since World War II. And these guys call themselves the inheritors of the legacy of Stepan Bandera, who was a Nazi who sided with Hitler in World War II. But these militias just formed today. They only formed because of Russian aggression. They're purely defensive. And yes, the Azov Battalion started as an ethno-nationalist militia, and then later, after the U.S.-backed coup, they became a part of the actual Ukrainian military, this fascist militia. And yet morons like you will still act like the idea that there are Nazis or ethno-nationalists in Ukraine is some Putinist conspiracy theory, which is literally just a cope.
So there were a bunch of like loose, like regionalist paramilitaries that coalesced in order to defend.
They weren't that loose. They got very, very powerful. There's a video of these paramilitary, or one of these paramilitary leaders basically bossing Zelensky around when Zelensky was president of the country. They controlled huge swaths of land. Because when you destabilize a country like that and you topple their government, there isn't that much legitimacy for the central government, right? There's, like in Iraq, Al-Qaeda and ISIS started seizing land and becoming really powerful political forces after we toppled the Saddam Hussein government. Same thing happened in Libya after we toppled their government, because the government loses legitimacy when you have a foreign country topple it and just put in power a puppet. So these paramilitaries, rather than just being loose sort of fringe groups, they had a lot of power within the country and within the country's politics and economics, and they controlled large swaths of land and they had enough resources to where they were able to kick off a war in the Donbass, which he says that started because Russia invaded in 2014. Why would Russia invade the Donbass? The Donbass requested that Russia invade 10 times between 2014 and 2022, and Russia and Putin told them no. But he doesn't even need to come up with a source for his lies. He can literally just spitball lies without even coming up with a source for one of them. Even if it was a bullshit source, I would appreciate that more than him just throwing lies at the wall like a machine gun to see what sticks.
From the Russian-backed invasion. Yeah, eventually Ukraine would go on to nationalize all of these militias, not just the Azov Battalion. The Azov Battalion is one of literally hundreds of militias, but it had nothing to do with like deliberately, taking Azov. Why does it censor Scooby? Why does it censor Scooby?
Do you think that the government that you call the Russian puppet government would have filtered the Azov Battalion into the military? Right? What do you mean it has nothing to do with the coup and it has nothing to do with their government overthrow? If the democratically elected Yanukovych government was still in power, which, yes, I admit is corrupt, but was not this extremely anti-Russian government, they wouldn't have allowed neo-Nazis into the Ukrainian National Guard. That is the point that's being made. But it went over your head because you have no grasp on the actual historical context of this issue.
On top of that, he's failing to note the small detail that Russia invaded. Yeah, very curious that this guy who's just honestly representing the facts of what happened in Ukraine, not including the whole Russian invasion in 2014. Is he even going to mention the annexation of Crimea?
What is he talking about? And the annexation of Crimea that had over 90% support from the Crimean people, even according to U.S. polls. It's too bad. Robert Perry used to talk about that. He was a really great independent journalist who passed away in 2018. And it's sad that these journalists like Robert Perry, who revealed all this true, real information about Ukraine and Crimea, which is portrayed as a Russian invasion or annexation, which, as I said, Robert Perry told us that it was about 90% support among the people for joining Russia. We lost journalists like Robert Perry, who found the truth, who actually investigated the sources. But we're left with Twitch streamers like Vaush, who don't even know what a source is. Outside of his chat, he just reads stuff from his chat and then repeats whatever sounds good for him, which is all a debate with Vaush is. It's you bringing up whatever facts, whatever sources that you know to make your argument, and then it's him just reading his chat and trying to throw as much stuff at the wall and speak as quickly as he can. All right, we're almost done with this, folks. This is really stupid.
War against the ethnic Russians.
No, I don't.
And I'm already giving Vaush more time than he ever gave one of my videos responding to him, where I like pulled out books and like had diagrams and graphs from Domenico Lacerdo explaining Marxism and how Marxists should support right to national self-determination. And Vaush just skipped through them and called me the R word and then ended his video to go talk about the culture war or whatever. So I've already given him more time than he gave me.
I don't think he is. This is the Russian line. Russia invades the Donbass and supports the separatists there, and Ukrainians defending their territory are framed as warring against ethnic Russians, which is, of course, incoherent and factually incorrect. I really wish this guy wasn't such a pussy. He's backed. He hasn't backed out of debating because he never said that he would.
Are you really? You made fun of my appearance and you're gonna call me a puss? Again, come meet me at the U.S. Open, Vaush. You can enter even if you have no experience wrestling or no experience with combat sports or no experience exercising ever, as I'm sure is the case with you. You're still allowed to enter. Okay, I'll debate you and you come wrestle me, and then we'll see who calls who a pussy when we're done with that. Like, why are you going for the low blows about appearance and about being a pussy? Like, I'm a jacked communist who's about to wrestle for a spot on the U.S. world team, and you're a fat, greasy loser sitting in your gaming chair telling lies about Ukraine on behalf of the U.S. State Department. Like, you want to bring up appearance? Let's go there. Let the people vote.
But I feel like I remember him having to defend his unwillingness to debate me, because there were people in his community who wanted him to as well.
No. Debate me anytime, you dipshit. I would love to explain all of this to your face. Any time. And I'm going to print off the work of Ivan Kachanovsky and read it to you. I'm going to force Vaush to read. I know his hands have never opened a book before in his life, but holy F, shred this pedo. Absolutely. At this point, does any socialist enjoy Vaush or like Vaush? I'm surprised he even has, his audience is partially like NATO bots. There was just that study released showing that 60 to 80% of Twitter accounts posting about the the NATO-Russia war in Ukraine are bots. So they flock to the tweets of Vaush and give him likes, and then that boosts his stuff in the algorithm. But even like people who I've had disagreements with before, like Bad Empanada and a lot of the BreadTube people, even they don't like Vaush.